Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Ervin again, live from Texas with AquaLocate. Hey, hopefully you guys have had a good week. If you're in our area, hopefully you guys are staying safe. We've got some pretty big fires. I think we have about a 50,000 acre fire to the west of us. So if you're in this area, stay safe. Keep an eye on the warnings and things like that, and don't take any unnecessary chances. Before I get too deep into what I was going to talk about, I wanted to remind you guys that I wrote a book on water well drilling, Comprehensive Guide to Proper Construction. If you don't want to buy the book, message us here, Facebook, wherever you can find us on social media. Go to our website. We'll send you a free copy, just a single page, well, 2 pages, a title page or front page, and then the meat of it is in the second page. That's kind of a very brief version of this book. So don't start drilling a well without knowing more about how a well should be drilled properly, or the proper way to drill a well. A drilling contractor, by and large, not always, there's some exceptions to this, but by and large, a drilling contractor will follow what they call minimum standards. Well, they don't call that. They say state regulations. The state regulations, I'll just remind you, they're the low bar. Okay. This book is the high bar, and they're industry standards. It's not me making it up. I've talked to many professionals over the last 25 plus years, gotten advice from them, from master drillers to hydrogeologists, geophysicists, things like that, people that are experts that actually are involved in drilling on a daily basis and drilling properly, and can't get away with going with the low bar. They have to shoot for the high bar. And this book is based on that. Anyway, just don't take any unnecessary risks. A properly drilled well should last a lifetime, with only rare exceptions. So where those exceptions occur is, let's say you've had a massive amount of people moving into the area and they've been allowed to drill wells on smaller pieces of property, say an acre or 2 acres. You get too many straws in the same glass of water, you're going to draw that water down and create some problems. A good example of that, a long-term good example of that, is what they call the Ogallala Aquifer. It's a huge aquifer underneath like 7 states. It's touched in some way, or it's underneath approximately 7 states. Well, they've used the heck out of that aquifer to grow food. Unfortunately, they have a whole bunch of straws in the same basic glass of water, and they've created a massive drawdown and degradation of that aquifer because of overuse. The same thing happened in California in the 50s, where they overused the San Joaquin Valley aquifer and actually caused massive land subsidence. So what I mean by that is they used so much water in the San Joaquin Valley in California in the 50s and 60s, that it actually caused the surface level to drop in some places as much as 27 feet. So those are the exceptions. But again, if your well is drilled properly, again, using these standards or standards very similar to this, it should last a lifetime. It should last for the entire time you're living in that home, and maybe even beyond that. A good well will last a long, long time. It'll have a much lower maintenance. It'll produce the maximum potential water. But a poorly drilled well will have higher maintenance. It may not produce much water at all, if any. And it's just going to be a headache for a long period of time anyway. So don't try not to let your driller cut corners. Remember, you're the boss. You're paying them. They might charge you more to do some extra steps, but those steps are worth it. And it's better than having to drill another well and another well and another well. I just talked to somebody today from Colorado, and it appears that he has maybe 5 to 6 wells drilled on his property. 3 of them he's drilled. He found out after he owned the property that the previous owner may have failed to inform him that there were at least 2 or 3 other wells drilled on this property. So now he's kind of up against it. He owns the property. He's got to get some water. Otherwise, how is he going to use the property? We're going to try to help him out. We're going to talk to him again tomorrow after we do some research. We'd love to do that for you as well. If you guys need some advice, some direction, if you're not sure if you need our help, or you don't know which way to go or where to turn, let us stand in the gap for you. Let us help you out. Let's give you some research, and we can give you some advice. And if you need our help and you want our help, we'd be happy to do it. If you don't want our help and just need some general advice, we're happy to give that to you for free as well. The first topic I'm going to talk about today, and we did a post on Facebook about this. So yesterday in the morning, I was on my way to Fort Worth area, and I got a phone call from somebody, and he gets on the phone and he says, "Hey, Ervin, this is Merle. Do you remember me?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "If I was with you right now, I'd give you a hug and a big kiss." That is honestly the first time that I've had any clients or anybody I've helped say that to me. It's kind of gratifying because obviously he was very happy. And to give you hopefully the abbreviated version of the story, back in May, he had a well drilled on his recreational property. Now, this property, him and his wife camp there or stay there in an RV for about 4 or 5 months during the nice time of the year before it gets snowy and things in that area. And they needed a water source because he was hauling water in a tote for, I really don't know how long, but before he had this well drilled, he was hauling water in a tote. He finally saved up enough money to have a well drilled. So he has a well drilled to 320 feet. Now, the research, well, let me not go too far ahead of myself. So 320 feet, the driller specifically says, owner decided to stop drilling, no H2O. This is the well report. And right there, it says driller decided to stop drilling, no H2O, no water. And clearly he was a little bit upset because these wells aren't free, whether they produce water or not. He called us and he said, "Hey, I think I need some help." And seems like a pretty smart guy, very mechanically inclined, as I'll explain in a minute. So I did some research, and if you look at the lots all around them, again, most of them are recreational. They're off grid. They either have to have solar or they pump water with the generator or something like that. And all the wells around them are productive, and they're not particularly deep. In fact, most of them are way less than 320 feet deep and in the 200s. And they don't produce a lot of water, but most of them are plenty of water for what they use these wells for. Again, recreational purposes for a few months. And an RV doesn't use a lot of water. It's not like they're watering their lawn or anything like that. Anyway, so the research, I told him, listen, it's a little bit weird that you don't have water. And I said, why don't you go to the well and call me back after you've done this and just take the cap off and drop a rock down it and listen for the splash. Just time it. From the time you drop it to the time it splashes, I'll give you a good idea how much water it is. So he did that, and he ends up with, I think there's like 150 or 160 feet of water. I don't remember the exact numbers, but there's water in the well, even though the driller said there's no water. And in fact, in the well log, it indicates, just if you look at the list of the lithology, doesn't indicate water. Again, neighbors all have water. These are small lots, like acre and up to 1 to 2 acre lots, not big lots. And so now he's got water, and he's like, well, I think I need you out to do some testing. And I know the area, I'm familiar with it. I've been out there years and years ago. It's tough testing conditions. It could be challenging. But before he started spending money, I tell everybody, if you've got a well you've already spent money on, you've got $20,000, $30,000 of this well, you've got to find out if that well will produce any water. It probably wasn't drilled right. It probably wasn't finished right. That's typical. But you've got to figure out how much water that produces. So I gave him some strong suggestions. He did push back a little bit. He's like, well, I could spend money and then I won't have any water. But at least because what if you do the testing or find out how much it costs to do the testing, you find out there is a usable amount of water in there and it will meet your needs. Then you don't have to drill another well. You're not going to pay us to come out because you don't need us. You have a well that's producing enough water for what you need. And they really only I think he told me they filled a 320 gallon tote like every couple of days. So it's not like they need a ton of water. Anyway, so ultimately, after I sent him some instructions, I sent him the simple document based on this book in case he did have to drill another well, did as much as I could to give him information. And then he called me back. And what he had done is he'd bought the cheapest pump he could find because pump tests he felt were too expensive, didn't want to spend the money. So he buys this cheap pump, builds this scaffolding, and has a winch that he's already got. And so he drops the pump in himself. And with the drop pipe and everything, drops it down in the pump might only last a year or so because it's not very good. It's made in China. Probably not very good. Anyway, he didn't care. It was a couple $100. He drops a pump in, connects it up to a generator, runs the pump, and he fills the tote, which was more than half empty, 2 other 50-gallon totes, which were empty, and then like 4 or 5 5-gallon buckets, something like that. All of that in a half hour. So the well produced a usable amount of water. And from his perspective, it might only be a gallon a minute or a gallon and a half a minute or something. Like, for his perspective, it's plenty of water because it only fills that tote up every 3 days, maybe, by and large. And so he doesn't need a ton of water. And he was happier than a pig in slop, or whatever phrase you want to use. He was super, super happy. I had a really long conversation with him. I tried to give him some additional advice, and I told him, if it were me, sometime down the road, I'd put a proper pump in there and get a proper pump test done. But he was very, very happy, super happy. And what we did for him for free now is prevent him from drilling another well for the short term. Maybe he might have to drill another one in the future, who knows? But as he uses that well, it should improve in production. And maybe next year he can afford a proper pump and get something put in there that will last a lot longer. This pump that he's got won't last much time. But listen, don't give up on your well just because your driller says it's dry. If he's left it there open and he hasn't done anything to plug it up, which I would strongly discourage you letting him do, don't let him abandon it. Have him put a casing, a surface seal in it, a cap on it, and just let it sit. And sometimes those wells, after sitting a bit of time, will start to allow water to come in, and then you can do a pump test and run it a few times and see if you can get some usable amount of water. Anyway, we did that for him. We're super happy for Merle and his wife. We're just thankful that we had the opportunity to give him some help. Hey, if you guys have any questions, don't forget to post them here. I'd love to answer them for you. If you can't think of anything right now, or you know somebody needs some help, send us a message on Facebook or here or YouTube or X. I don't know where we are. I don't do that stuff. Or go to our website and fill out the contact form. We'd love to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you about a couple more successes. I have to read them a little bit because these are actually from another independent operator in Idaho. We weren't really involved in most of these, except for maybe some help on some basic information as they approach the project. But we weren't involved in data collection or interpretation or anything like that. So this one, a guy named John hired this independent operator for a project. The operator did 7 sounding sites on a partially developed property near, I'm going to say this wrong, 𝐻𝐸𝐵E, Idaho. It's WEIPPE if you care. Anyway, so research conducted prior indicated there were 6 wells in the immediate surrounding area. We try to keep our focus in the half mile to a mile from the property. So my guess is that's about where it was. But they ranged in depth from 100 to 300, 105 to 300 feet. That's a big range. And obviously probably presented some concerns. The other positive, though, is most of the wells produce between 10 and 30 gallons a minute in the area. Now, that's based on what the driller says. And to be honest with you, drillers' estimates aren't accurate. Usually they're conservative. Clearly, in the previous story, they were super conservative since there was no water when, in fact, there was. That's a very big understatement. Anyway, the geology in the area was called the Columbia River Basalt Group. A lot of Idaho has a Columbia River Basalt Group in it, especially in the western side of Idaho. And it's mostly just a basalt, like volcanic basalt flows. Anyway, the surface material was within what we call standard data collection procedures. So the operator, female operator, was able to do it just in the normal method of data collection. I'm saying somebody messaged something. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll cover that other question here in a minute. Let me get to finish this up. So anyway, they had, again, 7 sites drilled. The property owner chose to have drill on site 2. Now the estimates on site 2 were a max drill depth of 197 feet and an estimated yield of 2 to 6 gallons a minute. We typically try to be conservative so that everybody's pleasantly surprised, so to speak. Anyway, the final well was drilled to a maximum or to 182 feet per the drilling contractor. And the drilling contractor's rough estimate was 5 gallons a minute. Again, it's hard to put a lot of reliance on that. A pump test would help determine the actual yield, but a good drilling contractor, even if they follow the kind of the low bar, they typically, not always, but they're typically conservative. So 5 gallons a minute, it's a good well. It'll meet their needs probably. Even if it's half that, they can manage that water resource pretty easily. So I want to talk about another question I got. Actually, I think it was late last week. We had somebody locally that was a bit concerned about a new development going in across from them and I won't go into too much detail, but needless to say, there was going to be like a total of 50 living structures or dwellings just across the street on a relatively small piece of property. And they were very concerned about the water in the area and what that might do to the aquifer in the near term and long term. So I did some research. I did some basic calculations. It's not absolute information because I don't have enough detail to be 100%. But I'm typically, when I do calculations on potential of the aquifer, I'm very, very conservative. And after looking at everything, even though there's probably going to be maybe a total of 15 wells in the area, 10 for the regular homes that are on larger lots, and then another maybe half a dozen on the 40 home development, the aquifer will support that more than enough. It's quite a good aquifer in that particular area. It produces lots of water. It's got a lot of storage potential. So unless everybody in the area decides to pump the maximum potential of the aquifer, which is highly unlikely, for a long period of time, they're going to be okay on the water side. Now, there may be other concerns that they have about 50 homes right across from their 5 acres, but that's a different topic altogether. Let me talk about one more case study for today. So a gentleman named Cody, again, this is the same independent operator in Idaho. A gentleman named Cody in 2024, in the summer of 2024, had exploration done. Again, 7 sounding sites were conducted on a partially developed property near Peck, Idaho. I can say that one. It's easy. P-E-C-K. Simple. Research conducted prior to it showed, again, about 6 wells in the surrounding area. The depth range of these wells was 244 to 485 feet. So a really big spread in depth. But the yields were also really widely spread, from about a gallon a minute to about 30 gallons a minute. Drillers' estimates, not accurate, but still a big range, accurate or not. The geology was, again, described as a Columbia River basalt group, common for this area. And a surface material was a mix of clay and sand, so good for what we call standard data collection procedures. The property owner decided to choose site 3 to drill the well, which had an estimate, but it looks like something happened. I never asked, but apparently they had some sort of complication with the drilling equipment on site 3, and they had to select a different site. So they chose site 5. Site 3 was the best drill site. They chose site 5, and the estimates on site 5 was a maximum drilled up to 322 feet with an estimated yield of about 5 to 10 gallons a minute. The well report indicated the well was drilled to 341 feet, so right in a reasonable margin of error. And the yield estimate produced by the driller, again, not accurate, but nonetheless, a rough estimate is 4 gallons a minute. Again, well within what we consider a reasonable margin of error. A pump test will help determine that in a more accurate way. Always get a pump test. There's other steps in this document that I was talking about in the book, but those are really important steps. Don't cut shorts. Don't shortcut. Don't let your driller shortcut. Please don't. Seriously, you will often regret spending too little. I know it sounds funny. I'm not telling you to spend a ton of money, but sometimes people are trying to kind of work on the cheap. And when it comes to well drilling, that's not a really good idea. Now, the drillers honestly are so busy, they'll often not try not to do the things that need to be done. Try to get them to do it. If you guys need any help, again, I'm happy to help you. I like doing research for people. It's an interesting process for me. I do get a little stressed when people are having struggles, to be honest with you, because I worry about what's going on with people, and I'm really trying to prevent them from making any big mistakes. I have recommended this a number of times. Please don't fall in love with a property until you've had the research done and you're sure as you can be, that you're going to be okay water-wise, because you could build a big, beautiful house and put in a septic system, everything will be fine. And if you can't get water, where are you going to get it? If there's no city water there or no rural water there, where are you going to get it if you can't get any water? Now, you might not be getting water because the drilling practices are poor. And again, we can help you with that. But you don't want to be on the wrong side of this equation. And if we can help you, please contact us. 800-251-2920 is the phone number you can call us at. If you want to know more about what we can do, how we can help you. Oh, one other thing. I have some really cool news really quick. We're almost out of time. We just wrapped up a transaction, or the start of a transaction for we're distributing or getting ready to manufacture 5 units for Kenya, for the government of Kenya. And they're going to use it to help people in Kenya that have never had fresh water in their entire lives, never had a water well, never had water from a water well. And they're going to start using it for those purposes. So we're pretty excited to be involved in that. We actually have, I think, 4 active operators in Kenya. There's been some other people that have had equipment in Kenya, either taken it out of country and moved it somewhere else. But we're pretty excited about that. We're getting ready to train a new operator from Montana who's going to start doing this work in Montana. It's great for us because we need more operators around the country. If you're thinking about doing this and you'd like to know more about it, contact us again on our website or whatever. We'll send you some information about the equipment, how you can get involved. You don't need to be a specialist. You don't need to be a geologist. You just need to have a passion of helping people. Again, please don't forget to message us here or contact us. We'd love to talk to you. Have a wonderful rest of your week, you guys. You can leave questions after we're done here. I'm about to end the live, but please send us your questions. We look forward to talking to you soon. Take care and have a good week. See ya. Bye.